Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. Big changes are happening this week. For the first week, both the NBA and the NFL are being talked and discussed all at the same episode. Thank God! First of all, we'll discuss a little bit of an NFL preview, then we'll discuss the Eastern Conference semifinals. The NFL is back, and I am so excited. I will discuss key matchups, plus, I'll be discussing my New York Giants, as I'm a huge Giants fan. I know, it's tragic. The first game I am going to discuss is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New Orleans Saints. Tom Brady, been in a different uniform, is going to be weird to see. Tom Brady is the GOAT, and it'll be really interesting and interested to see if he can do it without Bill Belichick. I personally believe he can. I personally believe that it was more Tom Brady than it was Bill Belichick. Because Bill Belichick had a losing record before getting Tom Brady. And now he has all the weapons in the world. He went from having none in the world to all the weapons of them all in the world. And by all the weapons in the world, I mean all of them. There's not one of them that he doesn't have. For Tom, we are going to see him at his best with a coach that is as passionate as he is. I mean, he runs down the field saying, let's effing go. It will be so excited to have a coach that is just as passionate in Bruce Arians. Now, for New Orleans, I have them going to the Super Bowl this year, as I think this is Drew Brees' last season. I think that he is on the decline, and we are going to actually have to see him step up and become Breezes, as what the Saints call him in the locker room. I'll be really looking forward to seeing Emmanuel Sanders to have a big season this year, and also to see if they can get into the Super Bowl. The next game I will be discussing is the Vikings versus the Packers. Now, this season is Aaron Rodgers' prove-it season. Everyone and their dogs rant and rave about this man, like he's a second coming of God. Aaron Rodgers is now on the clock. Like, let's be realistic. With the Packers drafting Jordan Love, it is him being put on a clock. And it'll be really interesting to see how he performs. He was on the Pat McAfee show earlier this week, and he said that his arm doesn't hurt for the first time in 16 years. It's very interesting that comments like these are coming out now and not back last year. I think that Aaron Rodgers is a tremendous talent, but the ranting and raving about him, seriously, like he's got one Super Bowl. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous for people to compare him to Tom Brady, who has, by the way, six Super Bowls. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that. This is also a prove-it year for Kirk Cousins, as last year he had a lot of turmoil that happened in his locker room. He was getting called out by everybody in the organization, as well as he was calling out everybody in his organization. I hope those weekly media things that they do is not going to happen, because that just ends in a lot of drama. So this year, it will be really interesting to see how his leadership is put to the test. I actually do look for the Vikings to make the playoffs and to make some noise this year. Now, to the match that I'm looking forward to the most, and that's the New York Football Giants versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know, I'm a homer. I know. The Giants have completely stunk over the past many years. Like, many years. But now we have a much better quarterback than what we did, and I love Eli. Will love Eli till the day I die. But I'm excited to see how DJ and Saquon work together this year. I really think this year is going to be a different season. we've got a new coach, got a whole new system, got a whole new offensive coordinator in Jason Garrett, who didn't do too well at the Cowboys, but hey, it's a new season. It's a new season. And honestly, if we can have an 8-8 season, I will be so happy. It's progress. It is absolute progress if we get to an 8-8 season. The bar is that low for New York Giants fans. Now, with the Steelers, Big Ben needs this year, as I think it is his actual last on the football field. He is 38 years old, and he's not as in good a shape as Tom Brady. I know the reason why they call him Big Ben, because he does look like Big Ben. So this year, it's Super Bowl or bust for him. I'll be looking for some good juju this year as well. Some other key matchups for this round, I believe, are LA Rams versus Dallas Cowboys, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns, San Francisco 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals. So look forward to those games as well. Now moving on to the NBA and especially the Eastern Conference Semifinals. The Miami Heat versus the Milwaukee Bucks. I have to apologize to Miami. I didn't think they could do it, but they did it. I give them all the props in the world. And Jimmy Buckets is truth. The Heat's performance was incredible, and it was a well-deserved series win. The Bucks, however, need to do better. They're the best record in the NBA, and they fall again short. Giannis needs to have a better number two. I mean, Chris Middleton's a nice player, but he's not a true number two. I liken Giannis to Shaq, and I think he needs his Kobe. Maybe someone like Devin Booker. That would be an amazing combination. I'd really like to see that combo. And it'll be really interesting for Giannis because he has a chance to sign a supermax, like in the off season. If he doesn't sign that, well then he should ask for a trade somewhere. And personally, if he does ask for a trade, I think to Phoenix. That'd be amazing. So in saying that, congrats to the Miami Heat, and I cannot wait for the conference finals. Cannot wait for that. Now the second series was the Boston Celtics versus the Toronto Raptors. What a series. I mean, the twists, the turns, the ups, the downs, it really was an amazing second round matchup. After coming back from a 2-0 lead, Boston let Toronto come back by winning the next two games in a row. I mean, did Boston just fall asleep at the wheel? But then Boston won the fifth, I mean. And then Toronto won the sixth. And then finally, after all of that, Boston won the seventh. I was really impressed by the fight that Toronto had. And I love watching people on TV who literally discounted anything that Boston could have done. I do think that anything that Toronto did, I do think because they're in Canada, there is a little bit of a distance between it. I was really impressed with Toronto, really impressed. They've got some great young pieces and they can build around that. I think Boston have shown that they've got some cracks mentally that Miami can exploit. Going up 2-zip and then getting it swindled back to an even playing field. There is some level of immaturity there and some mental cracks that can be exploited. Boston does have now a new big three in Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, and Jaylen Brown. Like, I love how what Boston does in that instinct is having like a big three, because the last time they won a title was Paul Pierce, KG, and also Ray Allen. And you can also put in like the big four of Rondo, but Rondo is now a Laker, and we'll take care of him for life. That's what Lakers fans do. I'm so looking forward to seeing the matchup between Boston and Miami. I hope it's a good 7-game series. I really was hoping, since I got the East second round all wrong, completely all wrong. I had Milwaukee and I had Toronto. Yeah, completely wrong. Now, with that being said, I hope that Miami comes out of the East. Because, quite frankly, I don't like the Celtics. I'm a Lakers fan. I don't like the Celtics. So, next week, I will be discussing the results of the NFL games that I just talked about, as well as breaking down some new matchups for the week after. And I will also discuss the Western Conference semis. So, that is all for this week's episode of Let's Talk Sports podcast with me, Lucia. So I'll catch you all next week. Bye.